So let me please welcome onto the stage some really clever people who actually know stuff. First of all, I'd like to welcome Sytse Zuidema from New Motion. Sytse, thank you. And second, from Octopus Energy, Rebecca Dibb-Simkin. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, welcome. And last but by no means least, Mr. Steve Day from Pure Planet. Steve, thank you. I think what we're talking to here is an audience that know quite a lot about electric cars, about the possibilities of solar panels, of batteries, of da-da-da. But I think we are on the cusp of a big change in the energy market. So I wonder if one by one, if you start, Steve, sure, about where you see things going in the future and what the possibilities are.
Yeah, I think you're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah.
I think the interest is overwhelming, and it's so good to see so many people here and see this revolution happening in front of us today. So it's tremendous. I think what's happened with the advent of the popularization of electric vehicles is a greater interest in renewables. And we're delighted with that as a renewable energy supplier. And we think there's going to be a corollary. As more people get more electronic vehicles, more people will be interested in switching their home to renewable energy. So I would say that is the first thing to lodge.
I'm really pleased to be here at the heart of the EV community, and I had a life-changing experience this morning. I will come back to the question, but which was I was in a traffic jam. That itself is not life-changing, but every third car was an EV.
Yeah.
And that was totally new experience to me. How cool is that, to be in a traffic jam where every third car is a full EV? I was really impressed with what you pulled off here with your show. Great to see that. Then on the energy transition, I think you're right. The way we see it is that energy production will become completely, or not completely, but to a large extent decentralized. So we'll all be energy production facilities with our home, with our offices. Electricity is not only consumed at the home and at the office and at other places, but it will also be produced. Largely, I think, with solar panels, but somewhere further out, I would also say with fuel cells. So basically what will happen, no more big coal facilities or central energy production, but a lot of decentral energy production is basically the start of the trend that we're at.
Rebecca, how do you see that, and what is your role in that?
The biggest thing that an individual can do towards combating climate change is to get an EV and to switch energy supplier to a renewable energy supplier. And fabulously, you can now combine these two things because there are a whole load of tariffs out there where you can charge your EV with 100% green electricity for much cheaper. And this is critical as we move forward to a more sustainable way of living. And what's then really exciting with electric cars is bilateral charging, what we call vehicle-to-grid charging, which is a trial we're working on at the moment, where actually you can charge your car up at work, you can take it home, plug it in, and if it's particularly expensive to buy electricity on the grid, your house will take power from your car and use that power that you've paid for at work to power your house. So it's actually around, using the car as a battery, pumping it into the house and moving things backwards and forwards to flex the grid.
And so, do you think, I don't know what the statistics are at the moment, say in the UK, for how many houses have batteries. I would say it's a very small amount. And certainly a thing I adopted early on, and I can say from personal experience it has made an extraordinary difference, not only to electricity bills, but to the way we think about using energy. And when I put the tumble dryer on or the washing machine, because you kind of go, I check, see how much is in the battery first, go, oh yeah, there's enough.
I agree. There's hardly anybody with batteries in their home at the moment. It's a few thousand, so you're a pioneer as well on that front. But we can imagine a world in about 5 years where most of us will have some form of battery in the house, and it will be like your other white goods. It will sit somewhere in the kitchen. It might replace one of the units that you've already got there, just like washing machines did, just like dryers did, just like fridges did, like ovens have done, and so on. And it will just be part of normal life. But it's a few years away, I think, for most, and we're just waiting for the technology prices to drop.
I think that's a general accepted principle. I think the biggest supplier at the moment, or the biggest company, is Sonnen. They have a little bit over 25,000 out there in homes worldwide, right, mainly in the south of Germany. So you also have to look at the application. I mean, it's still a cost of around, I think, £5,000, including the home energy management system on top of it. So for most of us, it's too early, I would say. It's a bit further out, but next to decentralized energy production from your home, you will also have storage. And I think the main application at the moment is when you have solar panels and your feed-in tariff is not really worth giving the energy back to the grid. You want to use it yourself, and that's when you would buy the batteries. Probably what you did.
Yeah.
And so first you have the production. I think then you will get the storage.
Yeah.
But definitely from the mobility side, I fully agree with you. You will start to use the battery of your car. So that's a battery that comes free with your car that you can use when you don't have solar panels yet.
Yeah.
It's just such an exciting thought for me that, you know, this is pretty much here now, where you're home with panels, with your car, with batteries in the house, actually becomes a kind of living thing, integrating with the grid to pull down power when it's cheap, or if you've got excess power, sell it back to the grid to make you money. All these things are here, and suddenly it's a whole different way of thinking about the energy that you use, whether it's what you put in your car or whether it's what you use to put your kettle on. So yeah, have a look here. There's such exciting stuff here today.
And it's also, I think, a very important thing is the tariffs, because that's something I never even thought about before I had an electric car. We just pay whatever it is, 15p a kilowatt hour all day long. And then once you get an electric car and you find out a bit more about the national grid and how the grid works, and that the wholesale cost of electricity fluctuates violently every day.
Yeah, suddenly you start thinking about it, don't you, when you've got a car. But before you've got a car, you don't think about what kilowatt hour you pay for your electricity, and suddenly it becomes a really quite a big deal. And there are now tariffs coming out. We're launching one today here, and specifically one designed for electric vehicle drivers, where we only charge 5p a kilowatt hour for 4 hours overnight. So it's you know, it's cheapest tips that you get there if you plug your car in, and combined with a Zappy charger from My Energy, it will actually automatically charge your car during those 4 hours overnight. So it's not like you need to get out of bed and switch it on.
We've gone the other way at the moment. Our tariff is flat. It's the same cost 24 hours a day, so it doesn't matter from a consumer point of view when you charge it. And overall, it's a blended rate which works out quite cheap as well. But it's not 5p yet. It's all right.
It's all right.
I'm not sulking.
Getting a bit into a pitch here, I think. But,
Sorry.
No worries. But I think what's actually relevant in the future is that the deviations in the tariff will get bigger, because we get more renewable energies. Sun doesn't shine at night. The wind, you never know. So the difference between the tariffs, we now have tariffs, it's kind of regulated, but the production and the consumption will probably get more diverted than before, which means bigger money to get storage or to make sure that you get them at the same time.
And now New Motion is not a terribly well-known brand in the UK. So you have a charging network over a great area of Europe, but you do have some in the UK.
we do have some here. As you might have known, we've been recently acquired by Shell. Working together with Zonnen, the batteries in home, first utility, to also bring all the applications you need in the next 5 to 10 years into the home. So that's definitely what we're after, if I may pitch.
Pitch away.
I think the nice thing to know, maybe in the UK there's already different tariffs. If you look, it differs country per country a lot. Norway, a lot of the energy is hydro, so it's just water flowing down, which is always there. So there is no day-night tariff there.
Right.
It's always there. So it differs a lot. That's our experience, country by country in Europe. How big the business case is actually for flexibility.
Right, because I didn't guess that. I mean, I think it is a very interesting point that when I first heard about New Motion, I have a tote bag that says in German, "Daddy, what is gasoline?" And the answer on the other side of the bag is, "It is history, my dear," it says. And I thought that was amazing, what a radical company. And then you were bought by Shell, one of the biggest oil companies in the world. But I think that is really telling of the way that big companies see the things changing.
It was a bit difficult at first for Shell to acquire the company said, "Dad, what's petrol?" But I think it's also very brave of Shell to have us keep that message, which is really genuine, and which is also their genuine pursuit in the end, to go to a total different mix of fuels.
Might I add something about Pure Planet as well? We've been backed by BP. They have a very small stake in our company, but we use them to source our renewable energy. BP, which I didn't know until we started talking to them about this, is one of the largest renewable energy traders in the world. So again, you'll find increasingly in the future, companies that you might think of as oil or gas-based businesses really starting to shift and to embrace low-carbon technologies and renewable technologies much more readily. And it's happening right across Europe. It's not just here in the UK with Shell or BP.
But I think the thing that fascinates me is the potential long-term impact of, I don't know, let's say 5 million homes in the UK with batteries, not necessarily solar, but that can charge at varying times when it's not so much to do with the tariffs, but it's when electricity is clean and cheap and using it when it's dirty and expensive. And it's what that impact will have on the whole nation rather than just the individual householder.
Yeah, and to add to that, the word that comes to mind when you say this is the industry that we're in, what we call this virtual power plant.
Right.
So basically, with connected systems, connected chargers or connected home energy systems, all of the storage in your homes could actually be seen as a virtual one huge power plant. And that's a very interesting and very fascinating concept that actually the lot of us together make for the power consumption and the power availability.
Because that was one of the arguments I've heard, is that, the sort of standard skepticism about electric cars, they'll melt the grid, we'll have to build 5 more Hinkley Point Cs, and actually the more you find out about it, you go, we'll need less power generation, not more.
Yeah, they're the future of the grid, and as we move to renewable energy and sustainability, we need to be more flexible when we use energy because it's less consistent. So if you get a really windy day, you get a lot of wind power produced, and if it's really sunny, you get a lot of solar power. So we have to find a way of capturing all of that and getting people to use it when there's more and use less when there's less. So actually it's all EVs, batteries, it's all linked in to this more sustainable future.
Yeah.
Can I pick up on the sustainability point, please, Robert? And something Rebecca said earlier about what we can all do to accelerate the shift towards a more sustainable future. I was just looking at the facts and figures this morning, actually, so I need to get them out.
Yeah, no, do.
There was a survey done last year across Europe. The average carbon output that we as individuals produce each year is about 7 tons. In order to hit the Paris climate 2-degree scenario, no more warming below 2 degrees, we need to get our individual levels of carbon output down to about 2 tons. So we've got to reduce it by 5. So to Rebecca's point, the simplest things we can do is stop burning. And you can do that as householders, switch to renewables. There are many renewable providers in the audience and in the hall today. If you've not done it, it takes a few minutes. It's the easiest thing you can do. It cuts your carbon footprint down by half. The second thing is switch to an electric vehicle. I think most people in the room have already got that.
Yeah, I think also what I would like to say, if you do go switch your electricity, very good idea. If you do switch your mobility from a petrol car to an EV, make sure you also get connected systems in the home. I'm a bit surprised in the UK. Most of the chargers that are sold are basically supercharged wall sockets, but not more. So they're a bit safer and a bit faster, but they're not connected. And to get this virtual power plant thing going and to really get the benefits, look for connected chargers, look for connected energy systems, so that we can actually build this community that can actually also work with the energy supply and the energy regaining from the car into the grid. So that will be a bit my pitch.
Thank you very much. Please give the panel a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. I think it was really good stuff.